sort of like a high-level demo about who we are, what we do, like a brief look at the software. And then once that's done, I'll come back on and talk to you a little bit. And then we're going to get into the best part, which is your questions. So love to hear sort of where you are in your journey. What's the biggest problem you're facing in your business right now that's preventing you from taking the next step? And we can kind of talk too about some of the news on the ground, the conditions on the ground, as it were, because we really do believe this Q4 coming up, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the holiday buying season, is going to be the single solitary biggest one the art and photography markets have seen in a great many years, probably 10 or more. So Taylor, why don't you get started, and then I'll see you guys in just a bit.
All right, everybody, welcome to today's session. My name's Taylor. I'm on the marketing team at Art Storefronts, one of the people putting together our many resources and consulting and mentoring our members on a regular basis in workshops like these. Today's session is for non-members, so this is a free, wide-open session, and how it's a little bit different than what you get as a member. Our member workshops, which we hold 5 times a week at this point on various topics, are largely tactical, right? So it's giving our members ongoing advice, tweaks to their strategy, checking in with them, seeing how far they've gotten since we last spoke, and making sure their business is always growing. By contrast, today will be largely about what we call unclogging the drain. Before you're even ready for tactical or strategic advice, you need to get the big thing out of the way. And we found through these non-member workshops that most artists and photographers out there have something. They have a big thing in their way. It can be a mindset problem, some kind of self-limiting belief that if you just simply do away with it, the path becomes clear. Or it could be something more practical, like not doing something that you really need to be doing. Whatever it is, we're going to find out about it today and fix it for you. Before we get into all that good stuff, I have 2 segments for you up top here, opening remarks. The first one, stuff you need to know about this workshop, how it works. The second, a little bit of an overview on Art Storefronts, just to get some context, set the stage, who we are and what we do. First up, the need to know information about today's workshop. To get in line to chat with us, right? To get unmuted and start to get some help, you need to use the raise hand button in Zoom. So at the bottom of your Zoom window, you'll see the participants button. You're going to hit that, and that'll open this on the right-hand side, where you'll find the blue raise hand button. You hit that, and that will do it. Raise hand. You'll see up here, your name will show the blue raise hand button. That's the system we use. We go top to bottom, unmuting everyone that has their hand raised and helping them out. So if you have a question up front, you want to talk to us, you can do that right now and get early in line, so you'll be one of the first people to get some help today. If something comes up later and you don't have a question yet, but something comes to mind, you can always do it later in the session too. The second thing you need to know is that we have a page that we call the show notes. And that's where we aggregate all of the links to resources that come up today. So if one of us says we have a really good video about that, or we say we actually have a podcast episode that would help you out, you don't need to be hunting around for that in the moment. We're doing that for you. We're collecting it all. Here's what the page looks like. We're going to send this to you after today's session ends. We're going to email it to you. So you'll find the replay at the top. Right, so if you have to leave early or you arrived late, or even if you missed it altogether, you can always catch up with the replay here. And then this is the show notes section I was talking about. All the links will be there, everything that came up. So you'll have that. Don't worry about looking anything up. In the moment, we're taking care of it. I should also mention on this page while you're here, there are a couple of request a demo buttons. Those are your go-to spots for either signing up if you just want to get going, or reaching out to us, having a more in-depth chat about our features and our pricing and stuff like that. That's how you start those conversations. If you just want to do your research and get to know us, see if there's a good fit, you hit the request a demo button, you fill out the form, and we'll get in touch. That's how you do that. Okay, second segment today, what even is Art Storefronts, okay? So here is the very quick overview. And like I said, the demo is where they go in depth. They'll do an hour for you. They'll answer as many questions as you have. But today, I don't know how many people here already know everything about us, nothing about us. So I'll just go right down the middle and do a very quick overview. There are 2 halves to Art Storefronts. There is the website software, right? So that is the art selling website. And then there's the marketing program, and that is really the fuel for that website engine. The website could be fantastic. We believe it's the best website software for artists ever designed. We really believe that, and I'll show you why in a moment. However, all of the power of that website is meaningless if there's no one on it. So the marketing program is what completes the whole membership. I'll show you both halves now, starting with the website. There are hundreds of features. It is very difficult to give you a full overview of everything that's going on with this software. So I think I will just show you what's really most important, right? The product page. At the end of the day, everything on your website is designed around getting people here to the product page where then they can check out and buy your artwork. So what is the big deal with these product pages? To explain that, let's just clarify that I'm showing you an artwork product page today. That's the important one. We also have what we call standard product pages, and that's where you can sell anything. If you have ceramics, jewelry, clothing, you can sell all of product types on art storefronts. It does not need to be solely wall art. But I want to show you the wall art product page because there's an important thing to get straight here. These pages are set up specifically to sell wall art. That's in contrast to a website provider like Squarespace that has to have their product pages work for all product types, whether you're selling artwork or toilet paper or electric scooters, right? It works for everything, which creates a master of none situation when it comes to their features. They have not considered artwork in particular, so they have not addressed the problems, the challenges with selling artwork online like we have. The big deal with selling artwork online is that there is a lot of friction. It is not a product like toilet paper or electric scooters where you want what it does and you find the one that you like and you buy it. It's a little more complicated than that. Buying art is an emotional journey. You fall in love with the work. You get to know the artist through their emails and their social media posts. You save up for it. Eventually you get the wall space open, but even then you have questions like which piece should I select and how is it going to look with my wall paint color? How's it going to work with the other pieces of artwork in my collection? Will my spouse like it? How do I show it to them in the best way? What are the media types available? I've never heard of this word acrylic. Is that worth looking into? What size is going to work for my space? I don't want it to look too small or of course too big. All of these questions are where you lose sales. People have those questions. Your website does not answer them and they never get it answered. They leave. You cannot rely on people reaching out to you actively to ask these questions, right? Your website needs to passively answer them for you all the time. Whenever that question comes up, whichever one it is, your website comes in and says, oh, here you go. Got the help for you right here. Problem solved. Keep going. Keep making the purchase, right? That is what maximizes art sales. Let's start by just looking at the layout of the page. Image on the left, buying options on the right. Not below, not somewhere down the page you need to scroll to find. Everything is visible on one screen and it's all expanded. There's not drop downs. Everything is image based. This is like the express lane to checking out artwork online. Beyond that, you can offer every version of an image side by side. The open edition prints are right here. With one click, you can start shopping the limited edition prints, signed and numbered, highest quality, that sort of thing. With another click, you're over to the original version of that image. If the original is available, you could step up and buy it right here. Finally, the multi-panel. This is where you break up a single image into 3 prints, right? So it's a huge upsell. You turn one print sale into 3, very sleek and modern presentation. I love that one. If you don't offer one of these media types, like you're a photographer, so you don't have originals, you wouldn't have this tab on your website. This is just showing all the possible options, but you'll set it up to whatever you actually offer. So if you don't have limited editions, it's gone. It's not on your actual site. It adapts to what you actually sell. Within these, let's look at the open edition prints. Now, the big challenge there is explaining the media types. The average art consumer does not know terms like canvas gallery wrap, giclée print, metal, acrylic. They don't know what these look like. They don't know what they are. So it becomes difficult to make a smart decision until they do. So the website's job is to educate them very quickly and visually. So here's how we've done that. When you click on one of the media types, the preview over on the left-hand side adapts in a subtle way. So this adds a little bit of virtual depth to this image because we selected the canvas option. That clues people in, oh, this is that traditional thick gallery look. Beyond that, maybe they don't know what metal is, you can hover on these tooltips here, the little question marks, and then you can launch a video. These are custom videos we've produced just for our members that show every angle of these media types and summarize the benefits. They're about 15 seconds long, and they instantly create that connection of, oh, that is what I want. Very powerful. Beyond those buying tools, you have the visualization tools. This is for questions like, I love the piece, I know I want it on metal, I'm just not sure if it's really gonna look good in my space, or how large I should buy. That's where the visualization tools come in. Wall preview is the starter there. You can select a room type, and you can get going very quickly, a good representation of what size you need, right? So let's step it up. The 30, that looks good. The 32 looks even better, right? You're stepping it in. We've got wall color here. These aren't random. These are the top selling paint colors from last year from Benjamin Moore, Sherwin-Williams. So there's a high likelihood your buyers will actually find their real wall color right in here. Very simple, very fast. So this helps clear up some of those questions, but we take it to the next level with live room preview. You can see the button here, and also on the product page right here, live preview AR. This is an augmented reality tool that allows people to use their mobile or tablet device to visualize the artwork on their actual wall, not a virtual space, not a hypothetical wall, their actual wall space. So you can see in this video here, it projects it onto their wall. They can start to select the sizing and see how everything looks. They can move it around the wall space, and now there is no translation problem, right? It is not close to their wall color or whatever. It is their real actual space. The most powerful part of this feature, because other websites have this type of functionality via an app. Ours works in the web browser. There is no downloading and installing an app. They're right in the checkout process. They pop open this tool. It works on their phone. They close the tool once they're happy, and they continue checking out. That is the game-changing part of it. So overall, I think that does a good job of summarizing a few of the features of the product page here, but that is your drop in the bucket overview. It goes on and on. Art Buyer AI recognizes and informs you when a likely collector has visited your site. We have tools that allow you to fire off very quick emails to welcome personally new subscribers, to reach out when someone has added something to their cart but not checked out, right? Give you a shot to close that sale. The features really go on and on, QR codes, selling sheets. I couldn't possibly summarize it today. Request a demo if you want to see a little bit more. But that is the engine, the Ferrari in your driveway. Let's talk about the fuel that goes in it, the marketing program. Of course, when it comes to artists, you guys do not want to be marketing. I understand that completely. You want to be creating the work and selling it. That's it. But the in-between step is very necessary, and it is marketing. So let's talk about how we make that process as painless as possible while still getting you doing the work that you must do to grow a small business. The centerpiece to our marketing program, where it all comes back to, is the art marketing calendar. That is the core piece. Everything else just supports this. The marketing calendar is a daily plan that tells you exactly what to do every single day of the year. It provides you with all the email language you'll need to pull off sales, a Black Friday sale, something like that. And it gives you the advice that you need to turn your casual followers into leads. That's people on your email list. Your leads into first-time buyers, and your buyers into lifelong repeat collectors. We walk you through it on a daily basis. It is not overwhelming. It is not a knowledge base where you need to watch 55 videos and then just implement what they said. All you need to do is look at today. We're on Wednesday. What do they say to do? I have 3 tasks to complete. It should take me about 30 minutes. Let's do it. 3 tasks, 1, 2, 3, knocked it out. You have done what you need to do for your business today. It's that simple. Let's look at what this thing is. So up top, attention newbies. This is a section with 4 steps we want our new members to complete before they get down to the full calendar. Some highlights here. We have a workshop every Wednesday where our marketing team will look at your new Art Storefronts website, go through the major pages, and make sure that it's set up according to best practices from a marketing point of view, right? So before you even launch, you make sure you're going to be closing every possible sale. We also have a campaign, a 14-day campaign that we want all new members to execute. It's just like the calendar. It tells you what to do day by day. Post this message on Facebook and post this message on Instagram and send this email. Very simple to follow. And that campaign is themed around celebrating your new website in a way that will generate you some leads and maybe some sales too right up top. So we ask everyone to do that before getting into the calendar with everyone else. Below the newbie section, we have the live workshop schedule that has your look at what's coming up this week, when you can join us in Zoom in our members-only workshops. We have some announcements that go here. We have a strategic overview, step 3. This section is written by our CEO and our director of marketing, and in it, they give you their advice, what they would do if they were running your business this month, where your head should be at, right? So the calendar below is your daily bit-by-bit look. This section is the high-level overview, what you should be thinking about your major goals for the month. And then you have the calendar itself. You can see it's day by day. We have a bit of hierarchy here where we put the most important tasks in red and everything else in black. Nothing goes on here that's not important to do, right? So the black tasks are not unimportant. It's just that if you have very limited time, you have family obligations, a part or full-time job, and you can't get to the entire calendar, no problem. Do the red stuff first, and then if you have extra time, do the black tasks. Most people have no problem completing 75% or more of the calendar, though. It's not a huge obligation because we do so much of the work up front for you in terms of writing the subject lines you should be sending and giving you lots of examples whenever anything needs to be created. It's day by day. You've got the major task of the day, and then you've got Go to Tasks, a button that jumps you down the page to the full explanation of the day. It'll give you an objective for the day and then break down what you need to be doing into tasks. 1, 2, 3, do these things. Very easy to follow. Everything else, like I said, supports this system. So our workshops in general are supporting our members as they're following this calendar. You check in with us, you say, I did the Saturday, Sunday task, and I got these results. What can I do to boost them even further? Or I see next week I need to be doing this, but I don't have my head around it fully yet. Can you talk to me a little bit more about it? All that sort of stuff. We make sure our members are moving together through the calendar all at the same time. When we do something new, right? So we've recently started doing these live art shows. We have a playbook on how to execute a live art show from home. And our members are having some huge successes with this, selling dozens of pieces from home on Instagram or Facebook Live. That is an example of something where after everyone does this together, we have hundreds, maybe even 1,000 people running these live shows simultaneously. Then the following week, we have 6 or 7 or 8 of the people that had the most success with that strategy come on a live workshop for our members and just talk through what they did. We hear out, how did they address it specifically? Was there anything that was a little different than anyone else? How did they see that success? That way all of the members can hear what's working from the other members, and then we go ahead and update all of our playbooks with the new learnings. So there is nothing in this program that is static, that is a dead blog post style article from 6 years ago that may or may not be relevant today. We are updating these things on a weekly basis, checking in with our members. If enough people report that this part didn't work for them, it didn't really seem to do anything, it gets pulled out, right? We are live adjusting all of our resources so that when you join in, you get the learnings of the past several years just baked into everything. So I've talked a lot about how our members interact with us, get mentorship and consulting from us via the workshops, but we also have a venue for them to get help from each other when they need to talk shop or just get input from a whole bunch of artists really quick on a topic like, how do you address shipping? How do you go about some kind of tax situation? All that sort of stuff. The Small Wins Facebook group is the place for that. It's private, just for our members, and that is where they go to ask for help, share their small wins, as we call it, all the little successes that stack up into a successful business. Does anyone know how to patent or copyright a design? Get some help from our members on that. So this is the place to go when you need to quickly poll a huge group of people that have gotten further than you, right? That already have gotten where you want to go and have the learnings, the quick learnings that they can summarize for you. Between all of these resources that all fall back on the calendar, you have a marketing system that keeps you in line, that keeps you moving, that does not simply present you with 1,000 hours of content and asks you to explore it at your own pace, figure out for yourself which things you should be following and which things you should ignore. This is about the calendar. It's about cutting out all the time you waste thinking about what you should and shouldn't be doing. That is the time saver here, the big game changer. You no longer need to think about all the possible things. We've already done that. We've highlighted what you should be doing, the best return on your time. All right, that is my rant. I was going to say short rant. I know it wasn't short, but it's very difficult to compress everything we have going on into a format like this. So thanks for listening. Again, the website is your engine. The marketing program is the fuel for that engine. So with that said, let's get into the consulting. I think we're all on the same page now, so let's do that drain unclogging I talked about in the beginning. I'll turn it over to our hosts.
All right, thank you, pre-recorded Taylor. And I saw quite a few people popped in like halfway through it. We email you the replay link after the fact, so don't feel like you missed it. You can just go back and watch it after the fact. You know, it's funny. I run quite a few of these sessions, and I see there's quite a few familiar faces on this one. So welcome back, everybody. But I say the same things most of the time, and you know, I know almost conclusively, just based on consistency and pattern recognition and how many of these things that we run, that almost no one on this call actually has a website problem. Meaning take your pick, any website where you could just instantaneously move your business and boom, it's going to drastically increase it. Unless you have a large email list and a large social following and you're marketing actively and you have traffic coming to your site. If you're that person, yeah, then yes, the website will help significantly. But for everyone else that's usually just getting started, maybe you have a decent offline business or retail business in terms of galleries or shows, but you're just getting started, digitally speaking, which in that case, it's all going to come down to your marketing. We believe in a number of different things, none of which are more important than the business model. And we feel like if you get that one right, which is DTC or die, direct to consumer, meaning there should not be any middlemen in between you and your customer. You need to keep all of the customer data that you have coming in so that you can market to them in the future. And as long as you get that right, it's about knowing whether or not your art is validated, meaning you've sold it to your art or photography, you've sold it to people not named, mom, dad, friends, family, because those people would buy anything you do. They love you. But if you sold your art or photography to strangers and you are selling direct to consumer, meaning you keep everything, meaning you can market in perpetuity, at that point in time, you're ready to go, and it's just a game of pressure over time, staying at your marketing consistently. But I think if you would have asked us, any of the top executives in this company, what our business was 3 years ago, we would have said it's a software company. Now it's just not. It's just not a software company anymore, because a software company is not enough to create successful artists and photographers. If we as a business, sorry, my wife is blowing me up. Sorry about that. If we as a business don't create successful customers, we don't go anywhere. We're stuck in neutral. We fail. So what do you need to do that? A website is not enough. Shopify, which is, technically a competitor, I guess you could say, a huge company, largest company in the history of Canada, actually, has a stat. They have some stats that, well, I don't know if they're internal stats or they're published, but you can Google it, and it's 99% of the people that sign up for Shopify stores fail. Not a knock against Shopify. It just underscores that people don't have website problems. There's 1,000,001 websites out there. Is ours better at selling art than any of the rest of the competition? Absolutely. If that was enough, would we have a monster business? Yes, we would. Do we? No, we don't. It's not to say it's not a good-sized business. It is, but it's not enough. So we are actually a marketing consultancy, education, university, and agency masquerading as a business website software company. That's quite literally what we do. We teach our customers how to market their art and photography, and we do it all year long, and we never stop, because that's all it takes to create successful artists and photographers, full stop. So that's sort of a profundity that you wouldn't necessarily get probably from checking out our website or just looking at it. And we like to run these Zoom sessions as, a great way to get educated on what we do. And then we're going to get into your Q&A here in just a minute, which will be a ton of fun too. But it gives you a taste on how we teach our customers. And we run, I think we're up to 9 sessions just like this in various different disciplines. We have one for tech support. So if you have tech support issues, you can come into a session like this, talk to a real person via Zoom, get your issue fixed, do screen shares, look at videos together, whatever it takes to get the job done. We've got onboarding sessions, we've got marketing launch sessions, and then we have what's called office hours, which are twice weekly sessions that go anywhere from 2 to 3 hours in which we talk about the latest and greatest marketing technique. We teach our customers how to run it, and we're never going to stop doing this. We've even just recently started in office hours for people over a certain revenue threshold because some of the teaching gets a little bit more advanced in there. But this is what we do all day long. And I think, I say this a bunch, and I'll wrap up with this and then we can get into your questions. What is the best way to sell art or photography? It's a trick question. It's face-to-face, in person. No one's arguing with that. The best way to think of it is, let's just say it's in an art gallery, right? Turns out we are all geographically fixed on this planet and we have to sleep. So you have to have a website. There's no question about that. It can, work for you while you're asleep, service thousands of people at a time. So you have to have one. In between is live video, what we're doing right now. And COVID has sort of accelerated its use, right? How many of us have kids that are distance learning via Zoom sessions? And how many of you are doing more Zoom sessions for work than you've ever done before? And it's been around for a while, right? And technology has just slowly gotten better and better and better. It's one of those things you don't notice the worms turning when you're on it. But as a result of it, live video, and specifically selling in live video, whether it's one-to-one or one-to-many, we believe represents the single solitary biggest fundamental tectonic shift into how art and photography is sold. We believe that, the way to look at it, and especially for a business like ours, but also a business like your guys, we're moving Art Storefronts as a company to a retail business. Yes, we're a technology business that sells a software solution, but we're moving towards a retail business. And what do I mean? Our doors are week by week turning into being open 9 to 5 on live video that our customers can come in, interact, get the teaching, get unstuck, get a tech issue solved, whatever it might be. And we feel like there's going to be so many businesses that are going to be moving this way because it is just the absolute fastest way to get you working, to get you unstuck, to get you moving in the right direction. Pre-pandemic, before we started running these sessions, we did content marketing pretty hardcore like everyone else did. Great blog posts, amazing podcasts, highest rated art marketing podcast on iTunes. We published playbooks, which we still do. Playbooks are step-by-step audio, video tutorials, images, text, templates on how to do all the various different marketing aspects of running a successful art photography business. How to run a sale, how to do a live art show on Facebook, how to email market, how to post on the social media sites, how to do pricing, all these various different things, right? And that wasn't enough. That was never enough. All of like the learn at your own pace digital education businesses that exist, call it your lynda.com or Masterclass or Kajabi or any of the course companies that are out there, period. Everyone buys those courses and no one ever finishes them. The stats are like, depending on who you talk to, around 30%. 30% of the people that take the class actually finish the class. So that's what we had pre-pandemic, and we thought it was pretty awesome. The pandemic hit. We saw the writing was on the wall. We started running this live teaching. And if I had 1,000 customer cohort before the pandemic, before this live teaching, before these Zoom sessions, and I unveiled a new marketing initiative, here's how you're going to run your Black Friday sales step by step by step. Out of that 1,000 people, I would have got maybe 200 to take action on it. And maybe out of the 200, some much smaller number would actually follow all the steps correctly. After the pandemic, after the Zoom sessions where I'm able to teach the material, where my team is able to teach the material like this, face-to-face, video, ask questions. What about this? What about that? What about this for my niche? Well, I have this. How do I deal with the media types? All the various different questions that emerge. I'm now out of that 1,000 people getting like 600 people to take action. And I think like the most profound takeaway for me is that execution speed is the whole ballgame. How quickly can you work on your marketing, get it in the water, have it be effective, and how can you stay at it consistently? And this live video just is proving to be a panacea for it. And when I say live video, it's just face-to-face communication via video. It doesn't matter if it's Zoom, it doesn't matter if it's private, if it's public, if it's broadcast. It's just being able to like teach face-to-face like this and help you through a marketing problem, or show you what to do for a sale, or show you how to run a live art show on Facebook or Instagram, or show you how to run a flash sale, any of the various different things. It's just so much easier to learn from someone teaching it live and then see the screenshots. And then most importantly, hear from people that are your peers that are trying to build a business exactly the same as you are, that maybe even have a similar subject material. And they come in and they're like, Patrick, I did it. Here are the results I got. Here's what I think really worked. Here's where I failed. And it's just so encouraging to be in that peer learning and have open lines of communication and not just hear about how to run a live art show and then you go out and do it, but hear about how to run a live art show, go out and do it, fail miserably, see someone that really succeeded, they tell you how they succeeded, and then you go to their Facebook page and you see the actual show, right? So it just ends up being an amazing thing, and it's fundamentally certainly changing how we do things. So that's what I would say. My rant went a little long there, but now I'd love to turn it over to questions. You can raise your hand in the participants window in Zoom, and I'll be able to unmute you. And you can come on and ask a question directly. You can throw questions in the chat. If you want to be on video, fantastic. If you don't, totally understand that. And I'll start getting into them. So Mark is asking specifically, is there anywhere your prices are listed? No, there's not. We don't list them. That's how we've done it from the get-go. And there's a number of different reasons for that, right? Like everyone tries to compare us. There's selfish reasons, and then also we feel like it's better experience reasons, and then I'll get into the prices for you, Mark. Everyone thinks, tries to compare us because they think we're a website company to all the other website companies out there, right? You go in and you pay your $29.99 a month, or you start on a free trial or whatever, your $59.99 a month for a website, and you get a website, and that's how it goes. Well, that doesn't work for anybody because the website's not enough. And so when we realized that what we need to be able to do is create successful customers, we changed how we did everything. And how are you going to create successful customers? You need to have the support and staff to be able to teach them how to market day in, day out, all year long, and never stop. Never stop. So when you sign up with us, what you're looking at is a normal website subscription fee, okay? And again, I'll get into the prices at the end. The other is you pay a tuition fee to get into an art marketing university, and the art marketing university never ends. It just never ends. It just keeps going and going and going, and it has to, because things on the ground in this digital marketing, technology-based age that we live in, the goalposts are constantly moving, right? You have to keep up with the teaching constantly and never stops. So the initial fee, there's 3 different layers of plans, which is why we do the demo request process. And by the way, when you request a demo, someone from our outreach team calls you. You have a 15-minute conversation, ask all your questions about all the plans. They'll find out where you are in your journey, see whether or not you validated whether you're a good fit, all of those things. And then if you like what you hear, they like it, all that, then you go into a demo, which takes like an hour and 10 minutes to go through all the bells and whistles of the software. But if you don't want them to ever call you again, they'll never call you again. We're not like, going to be constantly blowing you up for the rest of your life trying to hockey software. That's not what we do. It's not what we're in business for. So the entry level prices start the art marketing tuition fee, which is how I think about it, at $1,000. And then I think the cheapest plan is $49 a month or $59 a month, I think. But that's why we do the demo request process. So hopefully that answers the price questions. And I get that, probably the most Googled term is art storefronts prices, art storefronts prices, art storefronts prices. It's just sort of the way things are done in this particular software business. But I get that some people get miffed at it. I get probably like 50 emails a week, but it is just sort of how we do things. But yeah, is that it? Any other questions? Today, you guys are scared of me today. It can literally be anything about where your business is, about what's the best way to sell art, about merchandising, about pricing, how to deal with original shipping, what are you stuck, what are you hung up on, what is preventing you from taking a positive step forward in marketing and growing your business. It's funny because you think that, well, I shouldn't even say you think. All artists usually and photographers on these sessions usually come in with something that I call a clog in the drain, right? And what are clogs in the drain? Like, let's say there's a number of things that you need to do to build a successful art or photography business. And then there's a number of different things that will get stuck in your drain and prevent you from doing any of the things that you should be doing. And normally what they are all the concerns, okay, which are nonsense, that happen after a piece is sold, okay? After. Number one, most artists and photographers are perfectionists, right? And so that slows them from ever doing anything. Many are procrastinators, also 2 seriously endemic things in this community. And, I should say I talk to 350 of you guys a week in, week out, and I have been doing that for like 8 months now. So I've heard everything under the sun. People stress about the shipping. People stress about the framing. People stress about the printing, about what media types to use. They stress about whether or not they're going to get a business license, or whether they have a bank account or a logo, or how many pieces they need to launch, or whether or not they're confused on one niche or the other niche. And it's all nonsense. It's all utter, total, and complete nonsense. The only problem you have to solve is selling your art. Everything else afterwards, downstream, is so easy to fix. And yet all of these things get stuck in your head, and all I end up seeing are people that just do not take any forward steps in the business. They're not gathering new leads. They're not emailing those leads. They're not posting regularly on the socials. They're not having live art shows. They're not attempting to sell their art, period. So huge, huge issues. But Sharon, you're up next. And I've unmuted you. I'll let you know when you get it. You have to click the mic in the lower left-hand corner, Sharon, and then that'll allow you to talk. I'll let you. Okay. Yeah, gotcha.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Gotcha.
So I have a long time ago put some of my photography on. I'm trying to think of the name of the website. Let's see, what's it called? Anyway, I had it on there. Didn't really do a lot about it, and now I've gotten much more serious in the photographs that I take, and we're portrait photographers to begin with.
Okay.
My husband is. I run the business with him, and getting closer to retirement, and would love to have something like this be our retirement. So I haven't really sold anything, and I know when I put, well, not an application in to you guys, but I
demo.
Yes, exactly. You had asked, one of the questions was,
have you ever sold art before? Yeah.
Right. And so I really haven't, but would like to, and I'm really interested in your company because of the uniqueness of it and what you have done with it.
Have you, just out of curiosity, have you kept pretty good records on all the portrait clients over the years?
Yes.
Good. You know what I find is that, so much of art and photography sales is about relationships and about a brand and about knows, likes, and trusts you. You guys, by which I mean longtime working service photographers, you have such a bank of know, like, and trust built up already that, you take all of those files you have, and you can take everything on one end from just paper receipts. You don't even need their email address, all the way up to the digital records that you have. And you let those people know that you're launching an art business. And I mean, I could even give you the entire lines that would help you launch this thing. But in doing that, in marketing to them, and there's a bunch of other ways you can do it, right? Like even if you've got receipts from like 15 years ago, you can put those people into a Facebook audience and show them ads and then send an email. But all of that aside, you have so much goodwill built up with all those people that it just puts you in a really, really good position to launch the business on. Because they know you're talented. They know you're a great photographer. They like you already. And so you show your best stuff, and you'd be surprised at how well that'll help you. I like your chances in that situation to get a business off the ground immediately way more than I do most people. Let me just say that. And I've seen it time and time again.
Okay. Well, good. That's great. I hadn't even thought about that, but I almost believe that some people would purchase art to put on their wall before they would a family portrait.
Oh, no question.
On the people.
No question.
Yeah, and it's been a frustrating thing as a portrait photographer, but if we could switch them over and get them as clients of our art, that would be awesome.
You absolutely could. Let me ask you this: do you have a social media page for the business, Facebook page, Instagram page with decent following, or
no? We have a Facebook page. We're not great at updating it on a weekly basis, but we're we definitely have a following. It's not a huge following, but I think if we posted more often, we would have a bigger following.
Okay, here's exactly what I would do. Order. I would go through your archive that you have that you're ready to sell, and what are they? Are they landscapes or what's the nature of the photography?
My husband does. We both do landscapes, but I do close-up flower photography.
Got it. Macro flower photography. Okay.
Yes.
I got to get my little stack here so I can punctuate this, but this is exactly what I want you to do. Hold on.
Okay.
Perfect time for me to tell like one of the biggest cautionary tales that exist for photographers and artists is if I asked you, Sharon, to come work for me, I own a knife company and I want you to sell knives door to door. What would you show up at the doors with? What would you have with you? Would you have?
I would have knives.
You would have knives, not pictures of knives, not 2D flat images in a catalog of knives. You would have the actual knives, right? And yet everyone's like, I want to sell my work. I want to get started. I want to get going. And no one ever has the finished product to show, right? No one ever does it. Like so few artists and photographers do it. There's 6 major media types that you have to have. And then I'm going to give you the exact pitch that I would use in your case. You need to have a fine art paper, usually 2, a photo paper and a textured watercolor paper. I have a green screen behind me, so this is looking a little circusy. But in each case, you can merchandise it, right? And notice too on these, I've got really small sizes, right? You need to have a canvas gallery wrap. Sorry, flip that around.
Right.
You know all this, what I'm teaching for the larger group. Highly recommend metal, okay? The white gloss is awesome. Very easy to zoom in and show killer details on these things too. Webcam with focus.
Right.
Acrylic, okay? And the sort of unknown one, what actually sells kind of well, wood.
Oh, yes.
It's very, very cool.
Right.
So what you do is I would go through your collection. And what's your husband's name?
Craig.
And I would get, call it 3 to 5, maybe even if you're in a decent place financially, 7 to 10 of what you think would be your best sellers, your favorite images, because we don't have any sales data. Then you just have to go off what you feel like are your best ones. I would go on to my Facebook page, whatever has the biggest following, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is. And here's how I would start. All you need is this. All you need is this to do it. I would have the samples, and I would say, give me your husband's name again. I'm the worst with names.
Craig.
Craig and I, what's up, guys? Craig and I have looked at this COVID situation, have looked at our portrait business, and we've decided we want to launch the fine art aspect of our business. And we've never done this before, so I figured the best way to do it was just to see whether or not our work would actually sell. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through 5 to 7 of my best-selling pizzas, and I can kind of talk about the prices, and Craig's going to do the exact same thing too. And then hold it up, talk about what you did, talk about what lens you used, what type of flower it was, where it was, how hard you had to work to get it, one up, one down, quote price too, and I would just take whatever you get on the print. And by the way, you probably have a printer already because this is your business, but if you don't, we can help you too.
Right.
And I would just take each one of the pieces, I would mark each one up 250% from what you paid for it, go through, and when you quote the price, say, I normally sell something like this for, $375, but to launch this business and to sort of celebrate, I'm willing to let it go for $195, right? And all you say is like, look, if any of you wants to get one, all you have to do is leave a comment here on Facebook, send me a message on Messenger. If you know me and you have my phone number, you can send me a text. But we're trying to figure out whether or not we should launch this business, and we just wanted to get your feedback. And you go through it just like that, showing the pieces. You switch the camera with Craig and see how that works. And let me tell you, my guess is you will do quite well. You will do quite well. Because everyone knows you've got photographic chops. Everyone loves you. And we live in an age right now, thankfully, where this dumpster fire of a virus has created a boon for art and photography sales. 1, everyone's home. 2, still not going back to work. 3, finally sick enough of the white walls to actually do something about it. People are wanting to spice up their Zoom backgrounds for all the calls that they're doing, right? Like home decor has just exploded in this pandemic. And then there's like 15 other factors that are also helping it. I mean, everyone's moving out of the cities, and they're moving out of their tiny little apartments into houses that have 4 and 5 bedrooms and a whole lot of white walls, right? So it's a great time to do it. But everyone likes to complicate the scenario and say, well, I've got to get my 20 images together, and I've got to get them up on a website. Like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You can turn on that thing, talk about the best-selling pieces, and see whether or not you can sell them. And my guess is like I said, you'll probably do very well. I've had multiple people that have come onto these calls and actually taken my advice, done it, And I've heard results all the way from 800, 900, 1200, 2000 and up on all in one session. And like, when you're just honest and you tell the story, like, look, we want to see whether or not we can launch this business and then try and sell it. And if you sell it, you're in business and you know.
That's great. And then we'll be able to afford you.
Yes. Yes. Well, you'll more important than affording us, you'll have the validation that your stuff will sell, right? That's the most dangerous part of the whole thing is like, the people that are the most unhappy with us as a business are the ones that never validated their art, okay? Thought that the solution was, I'm just going to put it online and try and sell it, right? And the website's going to help. And the website doesn't get it done. You have to know for sure that you have a product the market wants, and there is no shortcut. Only the market can tell you. I can't tell you, oh, I got my stuff in a juried show. Everyone tells me my work is great. It's like, yeah, that's fantastic. But the only thing that matters is actually a transaction, right? Like if the transactions take place, you're in business at that point in time. It's just you start working in on the marketing and it builds and it goes from there.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think again, you'll do incredibly well. And like, look, you can, you just tell people honestly, like, look, we want to launch this side of our business. We're trying to figure out whether this stuff will sell. I know everyone is in their homes way more these days. So if you want to spice up your Zoom background or get an early Christmas gift, we're doing some tremendous discounts. Let us know. And the fact that you can do it husband and wife is even better too. You guys could do one website for the two of you and just make it the family brand, which would be wonderful.
Right.
But that's what I would do.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Thanks, Sharon. And Sharon, you're literally you could be 2 weeks away from doing that, a week and a half, depending on, the printer or if you have a local printer. Someone's asking on Facebook about selling in Hawaii and dealing with the shipping and the local shipping. So that'll let me get into sort of how we approach printing, right? We have 2 printers that we're integrated with, and one's on the West Coast, one's on the East Coast. One on the West Coast is Bay Photo, the one on the East Coast, Graphic Dimensions. They're both huge, huge, huge businesses. They have every media type, every ink imaginable, all the same printers. They, it's all the top quality, and you can pick the various different media types, do inexpensive ones, do expensive ones. The most important thing is when you get an order, the way that it works, an order comes in. This is if you're integrated with our one or the other. An order comes in. The printer gets paid, you get paid. The printer prints the order, slaps your logo on a box, and ships it out. You touch nothing, absolutely nothing. That's if you're completely integrated with one of our third-party printers. What Joneser's Art here is asking, well, what happens when the printing gets like really, or the shipping rather gets really expensive? It's printed in the mainland and it's shipped to Hawaii. You have all the options in the world, right? You can decide to integrate with our people or not integrate with our people. You can do half and half. But what I would do is if you think you get a better price for printing locally and then shipping to your Hawaiian customers, then do that. But what I would say, it's a cautionary tale. This is why all the small printers are going out of business across the United States, sadly. Printing has just become a commodity. It just has, okay? And those that are doing the most volume are paying the cheapest prices for the media, making it so the small guys simply cannot compete. The only thing a small guy or a smaller shop or your local can really offer is just amazing service at the end of the day. That's what they're selling, because the printing is just a commodity. Everyone's got the same machines, same media types and everything else. But when you get the economy of scales of selling $30 to $40 to $50 million worth a year, you'd pay a much lower media cost. And then the best part of it is not everybody gets the same rate at FedEx or UPS or USPS for that matter. When you're shipping that kind of volume, the rates that you get on shipping are insane, like insane. So, you will likely still be able to sell orders domestically and have them shipped to Hawaii from the U.S. and probably still pay less than it is getting your local printer. So that's what I would say. Okay. Another question here, Mark said, you said there were 3 tiers to your program. I had the call and I was told there were just 2 tiers. It's hard to nail down your price structure when it's just through words of mouth. It makes me think your prices might be in fluctuation and arbitrary. You should put them in writing and it would add some strong credibility to your program. Yep, I appreciate the feedback. I'm not going to do that. We've got a system and it works for us. I would say the larger question you're asking me there is integrity. And we're pretty transparent every which way you can slice it. I mean, you can go to our Facebook page and read through the reviews. You can contact those people directly. If you still feel like sketchy or whatever about us, there's not much I could do to help you. That's just how we do things. So that's what I'd say on that question, Mark. Okay, I've got another one. A friend of mine was a photographer in the 70s, and he has concert shots from the biggest bands, from Led Zeppelin, Fleetwood Mac, Queen, etc. Any advice from marketing to this specific niche? It's a really hard one, artistic elevation, because technically I don't think you own the rights to those images. Now it's a gray area, I'm well aware, but my sense is that's a hard business to build, because the minute you started getting any type of traction with it, I think the holders of those image rights would come to you and say, "Hey, what are you doing? You're not allowed to be selling this." So that's a tough one. I don't know if you could sell reproductions of that and build that into a really big business. So that's what I would say. Yeah. All right. What else, guys? Any other questions? Nothing? Something? Heather says, is every artist struggling? No, not every artist is struggling. Some are doing incredibly well. Some are absolutely killing it. But there's quite a few others that are just getting started. And, we got everything. We have everything from killing it to, yes, struggling, to, yes, not likely validated their art. And as such, not doing fantastically well. We have some artists that color outside of the lines and don't stay in their lanes when it comes to the marketing advice. And so, they suffer a little bit as a result of it. And we have some that have the niche and they have validation that their art will sell, but their niche is just not mapping to their ambitions, right? Like, they would like a much bigger business than we have. So they're kind of grappling with, like, how do I add some additional styles, but everything in between too. Ree, you're up next. Go ahead, Ree.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm with FOSO right now,
Mhm.
Fine Art Studio
Yeah,
Organization.
yeah.
I have been for a year.
Mhm.
Haven't sold one thing.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to say that, but probably some of that's my problem, not their problem. But I just retired a year ago, so
Okay.
I put yeah. This is all new to me. It's something
Mhm.
I've been wanting to do my whole life, and finally doing it. I have about 50, 60 works on FOSO right now. I guess I just need the ABC 123. If you were going to convert over to another company,
Mhm.
um, uh, who do I need to talk to about the details?
Yeah, so I can tell you that and show you. But before I do, so how independent of Fazo, have you tried to sell the work already, or have you been selling it for years, or offline?
I sold a piece about 3 weeks ago to I had done an article for the Northwest Arkansas Times newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Arkansas.
Okay.
And the lady saw my picture, and I'm a graphic artist,
Okay.
photographer.
Okay.
And she wanted to see the actual piece, which was on canvas.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 24 by 36, and she bought it for $350. And I think my prices are probably too low on
Mm-hmm.
FOSO.
Mm-hmm.
If you looked at it, you'd probably, there's no way that you can print this and ship it out for that price. Okay. So that I need help with that area. But I'm really just at the point to where I don't know where to go or who to talk to or what's the best process for me, because I've been doing this for a year, and I'd like someone to maybe look at my website, you or someone else there, and just be honest with me, like, your work is awful, or you're never going to make it, or
yeah,
or
do
whatever.
you know what's so funny about that is no one can no one can even tell you, right? You can't. It's like trying to pick horses. Like, this is why we say you have to get the product to market. Only the market can tell you. Full stop.
Okay.
And you will never know until you get it there. So pre-COVID, the advice would have been different. And maybe, I haven't really heard of Arkansas being a hot spot, but independent of that, pre-COVID, I would have said, find a local fair, find a local show. Could be a farmer's market, could be whatever, right? Whatever you have in your area where people are exhibiting and showing art outside, and go to one of those with your work and see how you do, right? You could go in there and have a booth with, your 15 or 20 pieces in it, and you could sell all of them in one weekend. Okay, at that point, the market wants what you have, right? Or it could be complete crickets, right? It could be complete crickets too. You'll never know until you try. That was pre-COVID. That's a little bit harder to do in today's day and age. Even if those offline opportunities are open, they're usually not getting the same amount of foot traffic, right? So if that is an opportunity to you, I would do that. in the digital age, sort of what I recommended to Sharon earlier is the easiest way to do it. And again, you phrase it, and I'll say too. And it's funny because she left a comment on the stream, the Facebook stream, so she was here earlier. But her name is Deborah Herbert, and I essentially gave her the exact same advice that I gave to Sharon earlier. And we put a blog post together with it, and you don't have to look at it in the chat because we'll email all of you guys these things right after the fact. You can go to her page and see the actual video where she did it, talked about the pieces, held them up, said, I'm trying to launch this business, trying to get it off the ground, help me out with a couple of sales and see how you do. But if you have a Facebook page with only one friend on it, then you're limited, right? It's going to be hard to get that out to enough people. So if that's the case, then you really need to figure out a way you can get that art in front of somebody, and you just have to get creative and see whether or not you can sell it. And you have to try. You have to try, because what did you do? You're like, okay, I'm gonna buy a website. I'm gonna throw a bunch of it up there, and you probably worked very little on your marketing. And it's not a knock on you. I'm just thousands of artists a week or hundreds of artists a week. I just see it time and time and time again. And what you're essentially doing there, I give this analogy because I think it's so true, and it really helps take it out of the art and have it make sense. You're starting a restaurant, and I'm starting a restaurant. We both want to start a restaurant. We've never started a restaurant before. Lifelong dream to be restaurateurs. Here's my idea of how I'm going to do it. I'm going to come up with a name. I'm going to get a logo and order a sign. I'm going to go down to the bank with a business plan, and I'm going to get a loan. Then I'm going to go find a building in town. I'm going to lease it for 3 years. I'm going to go buy all the restaurant equipment. I'm going to buy the tables. I'm going to do the menus, take care of my decor, lease the kitchen equipment, hire some chefs to help me out. I'm going to have a grand opening and see how it does, right? And that's what most people do. That's what they think they need to do. And to a certain extent, setting up the website, throwing it up, that's what you did, right? Let's say we were smarter about it. You know what you did? While I was working on my business plan, I hadn't even gone down the road, even any of that yet. You went to Costco, got a rolling cart, and let's say you make tacos. You found an office building in Arkansas. You rolled your taco cart right into the lobby around lunchtime, and you said, tacos for sale, 2 for 99 cents, and you served food all day long. And guess what? At the end of the day, they're like, wow, Ree, you've got to come back. These things are insane, man. Now, instantaneously, you've got a business with that taco business. Me, on the other hand, I did all of that, never tried to sell my product, opened up the doors. Everyone came in and they're like, this food is crap. We're never coming back here again. And I've just wasted a year of my life, and Lord knows how much money. I'm probably bankrupt now. And look at how much time it took when all I needed to do is go to Costco, get a cart, and push it into an office building, right? So that's the way to think about it. And it's like, the solution is not a website. You don't even need a bank account. You can take cash, PayPal, Venmo, whatever you have, and just get that art in front of some people and see what happens. That's what I think. It's the shortest way to find out. And it's for you, retired probably, and congrats on the retirement, by the way.
Well, there's only one gal. I live in Fort Smith, which is the second largest city in Arkansas. And they have one gallery. And it's always full, and it's a great gallery. But that's and then they have an annual show, and I've been with that for like 3 or 4 years, and I do fairly well at those shows. I may sell a dozen pieces.
Oh, wait a minute! I thought you just sold the one. If you're selling dozens of pieces, then you're good to go. Request a demo.
But that's only those events have all been shut down because of the the coronavirus.
I know.
So
brutal.
Okay.
It's brutal. But if you sold that much, then you're well and truly validated. I literally thought you just started this, just retired, just started this. If you've been doing the shows for 3 years and you've been selling tons of pieces at each of them, you've got a business on your hands. You're good to go. The market has told you it wants your art. You just need to start in on your marketing. We can help you.
Okay. Yeah, I just need an ABC 1, 2, 3 do this, because the marketing part I don't get it, and I'm really bad about wanting to promote myself or sell myself.
Yeah, we get that.
That's just not me.
Yeah. We get that all the time.
I'm sure you do.
It comes down to it comes down to how you market, right? Because everyone thinks they need to just have sales all the time and discount heavily and say, buy my art, buy my art, buy my art. But that's not actually how it works. It's not how it works in the slightest, right? Like, you need to, we call it romance marketing, but that's really what it is. It's like, I have this tawdry example that's not great, but it's like, if you walked into a bar and you saw a member of the opposite sex and you had just met them, you don't know them at all, and you make some tawdry comment about come home with me, right? Like, you're going to get slapped in the face. That is not a good way. Art sells the same way. That's not how you do it. You go in, buy them a drink, have a nice conversation with them, get the number, talk to them on the phone, take them out to dinner a couple of times, right? And like build a relationship. And it's the same when you sell art. So, you start in earnest in your marketing, and you talk about your process and what you do and how you came up with this idea, and you do some merchandising and show your art and talk about it. And then it's time to have a sale. You'll feel great about it. You won't have any problem at all. But also too, when you're inside of these Zoom sessions, and we have, I think, a little bit over 4,400 customers now, or 45, something like that. When you're inside on a Zoom session and you're surrounded by your peers and they're all telling their story, and they're from every walk of life, every creed, age, color, media type, style, niches, all over the world. It's amazing how uplifting that is, especially when you do it consistently, week in, week out. You come to the meetings and they are telling their stories of their success and how they did it, and how they got rolling, and what worked for them and what didn't. You'll find that insanely valuable. And like, it's funny because, we have our the morning marketing meeting on Monday morning, first thing. And we have this private Facebook group for our members where everyone just kind of shares and encourages and asks questions. And the post literally this morning was exactly this. Like, I'm struggling so hard with attempting to promote and sell myself. And you just look at all the responses. Like, here's how you do it. Don't worry. I was like this too. It's just all part of the process. But what's amazing is you're retired now. You've got a ton of time to invest in this. And there's never been a better time to be an artist, straight up. Like, yes, the offline revenue sources are currently obliterated, and that is a really sad thing, a huge bummer, right? But, I believe that the art and photography market is sort of going through its like moment of massive disruption. When I say that, I mean, like, think the record industry and MP3 digital downloads. Think a Blockbuster Video and Netflix. Think Uber and taxi cabs. Like, forever, it used to be you had to have gallery representation. It would be a 50-50 split. You would not keep the customer data, or you would be having to do the show and thayer circuit, sort of like you did. Booth fees, on your feet, 8 hours a day, eating crappy food, staying in a hotel, coming home exhausted, and you don't get going again until Tuesday, right? And then you have to go to another one and another one and another one. Now, with technology, and again, what I said about live video, like, you can sell internationally, no problem, without leaving the comfort of your own home. Does it mean it's easy? No. It takes some time to build up the attention and build the business up. But it's just the potential. The potential is just phenomenal, and you don't have any hands in your pockets. And look, you've got like the next 20 or 30 years of your life to do this, build this business, and then potentially pass it off to a family member if you want. So it's just an exciting time for it, I think. So that's what I'd say.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. All right. I see there's some questions in the chat. Okay, so Lola says, I'm considering your program. I travel extensively, and so I'm concerned about the marketing schedule. I photograph often in third world countries where internet connection is still almost non-existent or slow as molasses. I'm also concerned about my ability to discipline to market when I'm really a shy person and hesitate to sell myself. See, there it is again, right? But I need to sell my work to support my expensive travel. I have sold a number of pieces via one incredible art show, which was a hell of a lot of work. And I've sold prints via request on Facebook. I'm seriously interested, but also hesitant to commit. Yeah. So, one of the most important things, and I say this on these sessions all the time, is the secret to effective marketing is two things. One, focusing on the high ROI activities. ROI is return on investment, time, energy, and dollars. And how do we know what those are? We're good at marketing. We have incredible data, so we teach you those things. But the other one is doing it consistently as well, right? No one ever does it consistently, and you have to do it consistently. It's just an important part of running the business. So it's it's more about the consistency and less about the amount of hours that you can throw at it, right? Like, you only have 4 hours a week, in the mornings or in the afternoons or whenever it is to work on your marketing. Fine, give me 4 hours a week for 52 weeks, and then we'll reassess and then do it again the next year, right? It's like more about doing it consistently that no artists or photographers ever do, if they do any marketing at all. But none of them ever do it consistently. You have to do it consistently, week in, week out. Momentum is a real thing. You need to constantly be building leads and growing your email list. But if you sold that well, Lola, already, the market's told you too. So, you know, you got to get it up on a website and you got to market. And look, yes, I realize that, you know, the majority of the third world does not have good internet connection, but all cell phones work, all of those places. And you can do insanely effective marketing with nothing more than a cell phone these days. Straight up, as long as you're posting regularly to the socials. Oh, by the way, you probably have some pretty insane imagery and videos you could create in that capacity. So you make it work. Yes, there's some stuff you need a desktop for. Yes, it helps sending email campaigns and running sales, but you know, there's going to be hotels along the way in that international travel where you're going to have a good internet connection and you can do it, and you can just make it part of the brand story. I mean, you're constantly on the road going to all these super interesting places and taking weird cell phone videos when you're on the back of a scooter going through the streets of the Hanoi, or, you know, whatever it is. I don't know, I just came back this scooter in Hanoi. Anyway, yeah. So hope that answers your question. You could totally do it. Pamela asked, could I use your printer to print a few of my pictures in different mediums and see how I do? Yeah, absolutely. It's already, April already posted it in the chat, and I highly recommend you do that. If you have, you know, if you want to go through the validation exercise, which I think you should, even if you're not wanting to go through the validation exercise, how many of you have your finished product that you're trying to sell on the 6 most important media types with you right now that you could show to anybody at any time? No one ever does. No photographers or artists do. How are you going to be serious about selling a product? You're not selling an image. Everyone thinks they're selling an image. You are not selling an image. You are selling something that goes on somebody's wall. If you can't show the finished product that ends up on my wall, you're not serious. That's just what it is, full stop. And it infuriates me because it's like selling art is hard enough as is. If you don't have the finished product that you can show someone and explain what the difference between a canvas gallery wrap is and what the difference between an acrylic print and the fact that you don't need a frame for either and the fact that they come ready to hang and the thickness and how far it's going to sit off the wall and what the textures look like and the differences, how do you expect to sell anything ever, right? How are you going to sell anything if you can't show me? And oh, by the way, the fact that you're available to video chat with your customers on a moment's notice, should they like. What do you have on your phone? Oh, you've got an Apple phone? Okay, we can. What is the one called on Apple? FaceTime. We can FaceTime, or Facebook FaceTime. I can't even keep them straight. But you know, the video selling, I'm not kidding. It represents the single solitary biggest disruption this market has ever seen. You can get on a video chat with somebody face to face and talk about your work. Okay, and talk about your work. We have a photographer on our platform right now. The year's not over yet. He's a kid too. He's in his 20s, and he's already at, I think he said 100, mid 6 figures for the year already. Okay, doing well, right? And I'd say 80% of his sales, it's face to face over video chat. Because his work has a high price point, he has a compelling story for everyone. And so the most important metric in his business, yes, it's his marketing, but it's how many prospective customers, clients, whatever you want to call them, that he can get on a video chat with and talk about his art, hold it up, show it to him, show it what it looks like, talk about the printing process, talk about the longevity of it, and all of these various different things. So I think it's just a tremendous, tremendous game changer. Yeah, so that's what I would say. One other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link to our YouTube channel in here. I think no matter where you are in your journey, highly recommend you subscribe to our YouTube channel. The CEO and I do a weekly show called Art Business Mornings, and it's really good, and it's really up to date with like the latest and greatest of what we're seeing on. Yeah, okay, April put it in there for me. Thank you, April. It's really good. It will keep you motivated. The information is coming to you at like insane real time. Like we're getting all this feedback from our customers, learning new marketing techniques, going right live on that show, talking about it, what's working, what's not working, things to focus on, live art shows. It's really good. It's free. It's amazing. I'm serious. It's the best content we've ever put out, period. And the YouTube's the easiest way to subscribe. They have a really good app. Other than that, because we're in Q4, because Black Friday, Cyber Monday is coming up, and because everybody just moves these sales earlier and earlier and earlier, we are having a Black Friday sale. I think we call it the pre-Black Friday sale. So you can mention that. April has put it in the chat if you do request a demo, and see where you go. But yeah, I think that's where I'll leave it. And I would say, if you haven't validated your art, you just use that strategy, go validate your art. You might be blown away what you end up doing. If you are validated and you're trying to figure out what your next steps are, we can certainly help you out. There's no question about that. And yeah, I think this Black Friday, Cyber Monday, just holiday buying season is going to be absolutely incredible. So thank you, all you guys, for coming. Hope it was valuable. We run them 3 times a week, as some of you definitely know, because I see familiar names. Welcome back. And hope to see you on a future session. All right, guys, have a great week.